Hi, welcome back to Future Fast. And once again, we have a very interesting guest today. And before I introduce our guest, uh, thank you so much for following Future Fast. And I hope you're enjoying the kind of conversations we are bringing you. And also appreciate those who are sharing feedbacks, thoughts. We really welcome that, really appreciate it. Thank you so much and keep it coming. And today, very happy to welcome Dr. Shyam Parakash Sharma. Welcome to Future Fast. And I'd be addressing him as Sharma because I have had the privilege of uh, doing our primary education nearly for 7, 10 years. We were together in school. So it's uh, so you may see a very informal approach that I have, or the privilege, if I can put it that way, that I have with Shama. So that is how I would address. But yes, it is Dr. Shyam Parakash Sharma. He is a professor of Sanskrit. He is also an astrologer, and he's a very, very popular TV personality, particularly addressing a lot of what he calls mundane astrology pertaining to making predictions. We will get deeper into what and how of all those things and hear it from Dr. Shyam Prakash Sharma himself. And apart from that, he uh, he also is a exponent of medical astrology. He's an expert on Indian philosophy and also Puranas, and uh, he is a theologian. That's his expertise in the field of Sanskrit. So, with that, welcome to Future Fast once again, Shama. Thank you for making time to be here with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, uh, Shama, well, many of our guests come from different parts of the world. So I do believe that astrology is not new to many people because they have everybody have their own form of astrology, in
Okay.
some sense globally. So and you come from Indian astrology. So I want to start with how did your journey start? What did you set out to do, or was where you are is what you always wanted to be? So can you share your journey with us first?
Yeah, sure. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarvebhyo Rishibhyo Namaha. Sarvebhyo Shastra Pravartakebhyo Namaha. My dear friends, I am Mr. Shyam Parakash Sharma. From my childhood, it's not actually me, it's my father who wanted me to become a very great scholar. Very unfortunately, today I don't have my father with me, but always I have blessings of my father with me. And I started learning astrology at the age of 10, actually. Even my best friend, Nanjunda, doesn't know that. Because when I am in my very early school age, let me say in India we call it as primary school and middle school, then it comes to higher secondary school, like that. So I started learning astrology, especially I am expert in keeping muhurtas. Especially I'm expert in keeping muhurtas because one of
Shama,
my
you
uh,
may have to explain muhurta as well. What does it mean to
uh,
say keeping muhurta?
okay, muhurta means an auspicious time for each and every auspicious deed. For example, if we do the naming ceremony for an infant, then the auspicious time in which we are supposed to keep the name for that infant or baby, that particular time is called muhurta. In Sanskrit, actually, the etymology of muhurta is muhurmuhu trayate iti muhurtam, means that which protects us at each and every step is called as muhurta. So this muhurta we keep it for all the auspicious deeds. starting from the jata karma means the procedure what we do when an infant gets birth, that we call it as jata karma. From that, at the end, we come to the marriage. So starting from jata karma till vivaha. Vivaha means marriage. So totally we have all the 16 auspicious deeds in Hindu Dharma Shastra. So according to Hindu Dharma Shastra, for all these 16 deeds and for some more deeds also, for we need muhurta for each and every particular deed. Deed means karma.
Well,
So we,
on this, I have some question, if you don't mind.
yeah,
See, uh, it is, we all have studied in the history that even Mughal kings used to have a set of astrologers who used to uh, tell them what is a good muhurta to do something, right? And
exactly,
even in South, we have heard that Tipu Sultan, who actually
yeah,
uh, whose primary motive was to convert Hindus to Muslims. I mean, that's what he went about doing in Coorg and Kerala, northern Kerala. But
yeah.
he also had astrologers. So, is it necessary to have faith in uh, uh, God or Hinduism to uh, make sure that this actually works? I mean,
Definitely it works. Whether you believe or not, mathematics is always right.
so even
Is it
if
not?
it's a Tipu Sultan or an Akbar who were not believers, but they follow, it works because it is maths and it is nothing to do with religion or faith.
It is totally of mathematics. Basically, astrology is divided into three major categories or groups: Siddhanta, Samhita, Hora. Siddhanta is also called as Ganita. Ganita means mathematics in English. And Samhita parts, that is the widest part in astrology, wherein you can cover Vastu, then gemology, then mundane astrology, then eclipses, then meteors, comets, and so many other things. Okay, and the last part is Hora, Hora. Hora means prediction. So actually, most of the people in the world, they know only one part, that is Hora. Hora means prediction. Everybody is very eager to know about their future, whether it is Indian or non-Indian or anybody in the world. If I say, see, for example, numerology also. Numerology basically, although it doesn't see the basic birth from Indian root, but we have some predictions regarding numerology also.
Okay, okay.
So all these things comes under astrology. Astrology, most of the people ask that whether astrology is science or not. If I say, if you believe in mathematics, you can believe in astrology. If mathematics is wrong, then astrology is wrong. That's all. Because basically, astrology and predictions, they are dependent on mathematics, basic levels of mathematics.
But what about astrology that is done in Arab world or somewhere else? Is there a difference in Indian astrology to Indian or Hindu astrology to Arab or Islamic or something that people in the West they say they are astrologers, but they
Okay.
don't really come from the Hindu or Vedic science. So how do you differentiate these things?
Basically, our astrology, whatever our ancient seers and sages have developed, that is based on the celestial bodies like sun, moon, and all the other planets and other things. You have lot of references in Vedas, Shastras, Puranas, and Smritis, and in such other religious and philosophical texts, not philosophical, classical texts, that you have the source and references for the astrology. For example, even in Ramayana, when Rama was born, the sage and the writer of Ramayana, Valmiki, he writes that at the time of the birth of Rama, these planets were in these positions. So at that time, we didn't had these kinds of technologies. We had some other kinds of technologies, and because of their austerities, means tapas, what we call in Sanskrit, that is the most important factor that differentiates our ancient sages or seers from today's scientists or ancient scientists, because they work on practical session. These sages and seers, they work on supernatural powers. They do the tapas and they'll get some supernatural powers from which they are going to extract or predict the things in the world.
See, when we were in school and all that, see, astronomy was science, but astrology was more traditional or non-science but social. So that was a
Yeah.
that was a sense we had. So how did you handle this complexity or contradiction? Because in school we were all taught that astrology is not science but astronomy is science, and you are also learning astrology parallelly, and probably your teachers were telling you astrology is also science.
Basically, while doing my degree, that is BSc, in our college, I underwent a course of 1 year course in astronomy also.
Okay.
Very unfortunately, in India, most of the people who teaches astrology, they teach astronomy as science, and astrology, they call it as non-science. Yeah, actually, it is not like that because, as I said earlier, astrology means it is a common word in Sanskrit. Jyotisha. Jyotisha has three major parts: Siddhanta, Samhita, Hora. Siddhanta is also called as Ganita. Ganita means it is purely mathematics, means fundamentals, elements of astrology, based on which both Samhita and Hora part are working together. So, if mathematics or Ganita is purely science or logical, obviously or inevitably the Hora and Samhita must be logical, and it is correct.
Well, when did you, in your journey, when did you make peace with yourself as astrology is science? Because those who were teaching astrology were also saying that astrology is not science. So when did you arrive at this thought process that astrology also has a science?
Perhaps in the past 15, 20 years, even most of the people who are teaching astrology, they call it as astrological science only. Because astrological
I even
science and
remember scientific astrology. Some people used to talk about that they do
yeah,
scientific astrology. So, what is that? How
yeah.
do you differentiate the scientific astrology? And some people refer to it as Vedic astrology. Some people refer to it as we are not Vedic, we are scientific. What does that mean?
See, basically, the purpose of birth of astrology took place for the sake of performing Vedic sacrifices, yagna and yagas. For that sacrifices, certain period or time was mentioned in technical text, basic technical text, Sanskrit technical text, for which the astrology arrived. Astrology is nothing but the science of time. That's all. Simply, if I want to say what is astrology, it is nothing but understanding the science of good and bad time. Like what we call as Rahu Kala, Gulika Kala, Ardha Kala, Yamaganda Kala in our ancient texts. Even today we follow that. While keeping Muhurta, we definitely see and we have lot of authentic proofs for all those things.
Right. Well, since you brought up this, Kala, this is something which I was always curious. That traditionally, we were told that anything auspicious, you don't do it at Rahu Kala, right? I mean, generally.
Yeah, yeah,
But
generally.
then I came across incidents where a very wealthy businessman,
Yeah,
he apparently does his very important financial dealings in Rahu Kala. I mean, I just couldn't understand that because I thought if somebody actually believes in it, they should avoid it. But why would he actually choose only that time of the day to do it? I mean, what is that thing? I was not able to understand that.
There is a proverb in English: every rule has an exception. Perhaps he
Okay.
might be an exception case.
Oh, there are such exceptions that what generally is told to
Maybe, yeah, because yeah, perhaps he might be an exception case, or he might have lost something and he has not disclosed. Both possibilities are there, either
avoid.
this possibility or that possibility. But usually we don't start because in our classical theological text there is a shloka: nidanam praharardetu niswatvam yavagandake kulike sarvanasha syat ratro ete nadoshadaha. Nidanam praharardetu, ardha prahara kala is there in Sanskrit. It is all I am saying about inauspicious time. These
Okay.
are all inauspicious time. Ardha Prahara Kala, Gulika Kala, Yamakanda Kala. These three are inauspicious time. Nidanam Prahara Deto. And I have verified these things also. In my life, I have verified these things. Even in Ardha Prahara Kala, if somebody keeps Muhurta, what happens? What will be the effect? If somebody keeps at Yamaganda Kala, if somebody keeps in Guli Kala, then what happens? Because one of my client, I'm not supposed to be able to disclose his name because he is a very renowned person in the society. So actually, I went to somebody's house for some general discussion. They had some religious doubts, and I was invited, and I went there. I went over there, and that person he actually came in 2020. I don't remember that time at all. He came in the first week of March of 2020, because you very well know that from March 25th 2020 onwards, Mr. Narendra Modi declared that corona, what you
Correct.
call some
Lockdown,
I
basically.
don't know what, lockdown. Yeah, lockdown. Basically, he called as lockdown, and everything was shut down in our country.
Right.
Before that, 20 22 days back, when I just met him, or when he met me for the first time, he gave me the invitation, and I was introduced as one of the best astrologer, especially in the field of Muhurta, to him. Then he asked, how is the Muhurta Swamiji? Then I told, this marriage will not take place. By seeing the timings of the muhurta, simply I said that this marriage will not take place. You are going to see a huge loss in this. He was totally shocked. Why? What happened? He told. No, the muhurta, whatever you have kept, the time is, I think it was Gulikala or something. Kulike Sarvanashasyat. In Sanskrit, we call it as Kulike Sarvanashasyat. If you keep the muhurta in Gulika Kala, then you are going to see the huge loss in your ceremony. So I told him. He told, as I told, I'm not supposed to disclose his name because he told that no, definitely we are going to do it because everything is we have booked the children, we have booked everything, he told. So I just kept quiet. I didn't speak anything much more than that. After other 15 20 days, when lockdown was announced, already when I met him for the first time, he took my name actually. And on March 25th, 2020, lockdown was announced. And this marriage was supposed to be on 28th and 29th or something like that. So then he called me. Sir, what is this lockdown has happened? We are not able to complete the marriage at all. I told him very clearly. See, I have predicted you 20 25 days back only. So this is what actually the muhurta, the auspicious time and inauspicious time means. This is why you are supposed to consult an expert astrologer and get the good time or the auspicious time for each and every deed or karma what you do. Then from that time onwards, he has met me nearly 4 5 times.
Mhm.
He brought for his son's marriage and other things. He came to me and all those things because basically he's a deputy commissioner of police.
Okay. Well, but see, uh, a very normal definition of science would mean there is a evidential proof for anything, right? From a point of records. So, so astrology has been practiced like Ayurveda and many of the Indian traditional sciences, which were doubted, and now slowly one by one things are getting cleared. Uh, but are
Yeah.
there
Okay.
any source of data or record for a long period of time to say that okay, this was told, or like what you said, that you have personally observed that how the times don't go well when something is done in a inauspicious hour, then things go bad. But is there any
Okay.
large record to justify it from a modern science definition standpoint, that this is a record which can be
Okay.
validated or verified? Is there something like that historically? Has people been maintaining it? Have you started maintaining it, or do you know somebody, or is there a collective group of astrologers or an association maintains all the data to give a backing of this scientific argument in a modern sense?
In the modern science or in the modern world, I think in India, many people are doing very good works in astrology also. Because as you said, they are keeping the earlier data, they are collecting the earlier data, what was the thing that was happened, when it was happened, whether is it happened in auspicious time or inauspicious time, and then what will be the effect, all those things. Basically, in our country, science means we declare or we define the science as basically three parts: concept, experiment, and experience or result. In our country, basically, Indian sages and Indian traditional scholars, we okay, we define science as concept, means vishaya, experiment, prayoga. This experiment part, the Western scholars, they think that it should be under some roof. It should be experiment means a practical experiment in some lab or room, closed area, like that. But in our ancient times, it was not like that, because in today's world, definitely you can see so many things which cannot be explained even by the Western scientists also. Better you can go for Mr. Praveen Mohan's videos in YouTube and other channels. Definitely, you can see amazing and unexplainable scientific things in the world, especially in our country. So, like that, experiment means it need not be under one roof or in a lab only. It may be of any kind. And the final thing is experience and the result what we say. So if you experience, because as Mr. Shankaracharya says, experience is the mother of all knowledge. Unless until I experience personally, usually I don't believe in anything. Unless until I experience. That is why I told you in the very beginning that whether it is a good time or bad time, I experience each and everything. If somebody puts some muhurta in wrong time or muhurta, then sometimes I say, if they are very well known to me, then I will say this is not good time, better you change. Despite if they do, and if they see some havocs or problems in future, again they will come to me saying that we have faced so and so problems. Then I ask the muhurta timings. Similarly, we can extract good timings, both good timings and bad timings in a day. What we call as Rahu Kala, Gulik Kala, Ardha Prahar Kala, Yamakanda Kala, these are all inauspicious or bad time in each and every day. And every day, these timings vary.
Well, since you started learning at the age of 10, and we knew each other, but I had no clue about it. But
Yeah.
uh, have you been applying it to everything that you do since then itself? As in, even.
No, not then. No, no, certainly not. When I started uh, experiencing or doing some experiments or tests on that, I was around 20 years old.
Okay.
So from the past 30 years, I am doing all kinds of or various kinds of experiments or
And
tests
you're also
regarding
recording
most
them?
of. I have my own recordings in my books.
Okay. Okay.
I don't have any digital recording.
Yeah,
or
but your
e-recording. I
recorded
have in
can
my
always
person.
be digitized. So,
Yeah.
okay. And what was the trigger for you when you were 20 to start experimenting with these things? Why did you start experimenting then?
Because you know very well, because we are all this, we were the students of Mr. H. Narasimhaya. So he used to say that without questioning, don't accept anything. That
Right. For
was
those who are
actually,
not familiar, Dr. H. Narasimhaya was a nuclear physicist. He was
yeah,
a principal of the college we studied in, and he was also a trustee,
yeah,
managing trustee at that time. And he was a well self-proclaimed and identified rationalist. So he was
yeah,
one of those people uh, who questioned the existence of God and also everything else associated with that, including religion and rituals and all those things. Yes, sorry. I thought I'll just give a quick introduction to him.
yeah, definitely. So because in fact, whether I don't know whether he was advising or brainwashing us to always question and accept. So his actually, see, after I studied a lot, then I came to know that even his quotation is wrong, because in Kannada he was saying "Prashnisade oppabedi," means without questioning, don't accept anything. But my uh, quotation is "Anubhavisade oppabedi." Without experiencing, you should not believe. So perhaps people only can think which one is better. If you
Right.
just question and if you get the answer, if you cannot experience also, you have to accept it inevitably. But I am not like that. Unless until I experience, I don't accept anything. If I
But
don't experience, I say that I don't know.
well, knowing HN and his stories, I think he was also an experiential man. Maybe he was telling that,
Yeah,
but I think
he
he
was,
was
yeah.
following what you were saying for sure.
Yeah. He was a good person in science. There is no doubt about it. Because, in fact, in those days, he used to advise us and mentor us so many things, scientific things, in our college. And he was very renowned in Karnataka's Dr. H.N. only. Perhaps he might be new for the today's people, but the old people will definitely know him very well.
True, true. Uh, well, uh, how would you have a uh, I don't know. Well, he would completely oppose whatever you talk about, right? Or even as a profession. I mean, he would regard you as a Sanskrit scholar, but he would disregard you for the astrology part, right? If he was around here today. So,
Uh, Before that, actually, in the same period only, you might be knowing Dr. S. Balchandra Rao, SPR mathematics professor.
yes, 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 I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you remember him.
Yeah.
He was also a mathematics professor and he was an astronomer, basically. He is
Correct.
the
He was
one
an
who
astronomy
used,
enthusiast. Correct.
yeah, yeah, he has written some books also on astronomy, both in Kannada and English.
Oh, I didn't know that. I remember he had written
Yeah,
some mathematics textbooks as well.
yeah, mathematics also he has written, and he has written some books on astronomy and even anti-astrology books.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that at all. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So actually, when I was basically I was a student only, and I'm very proud to say that I was a student. And when I became a lecturer over there, in the my first appointment was in National College Baswangudi only. After I completed my post graduation, so
Wonderful.
I was taken to him, and he saw me, and my professor introduced that he was the alum of this college only, and now he has joined as a lecturer. He was very happy, and he asked me, "What is your specialization?" In post graduation, I was telling that my specialization is grammar, logic, and philosophy, and I have got 5 gold medals in my post graduation. I was telling all those things. So he was very happy. And what is the other hobbies you have? I told professionally I am an astrologer. So he told that can you prove that astrology is true? Why not, sir? If you have the broad-mindedness and wholeheartedness, definitely I can prove. So like that, we had a lot of talks with him for 2 3 years. So he
So
was
were you able to establish? Did he give you any particular challenge that you do you remember?
that's what he asked me something, some questions, and he gave me some questions, and he told me to answer all those things. I referred so and so granthas, and I just answered him, and I put some questions to him. Why you can't think in the opposite manner? So then he started thinking. At the end, he told, perhaps your astrology may be right. Where earlier he was saying astrology is not right. At the end, he was saying, perhaps astrology may be right. So at that conclusion, he came.
Okay, that's interesting. So maybe it'd be nice to have a construction of that conversation or a debate between you and
Yeah,
SP.
even these kind of debates or seminars will be going on. It was going on. It is going on. It will be going on in our world, because there are for each and everything. Even in US also, I heard that there are many people who are pro science, who are against science, who are pro astrology, who are against astrology, and what all the things the people say that some Neil Armstrong and other things. They landed first on the moon, and so in so and so year. Even for that also, there are many people who oppose that, and by asking several questions, they want to establish their own theories or controversies.
Right. And today, astrologers or astrology gets into mainstream conversation every time there is an election,
Yeah,
right? Otherwise, it is not really there in the mainstream conversation. Maybe it is there at homes when people want to get married and
yeah,
things
exactly.
like that, right? But uh, uh, what made you look at this as a profession? Because see, you even at one point of time questioned this because of HN's influence, which is very possible and very I mean, that's the way it is, right? And also, that is the age we tend to
Yeah,
question everything. We tend to even rebel. So you,
exactly.
but when did it, uh, when did you see that one, you should take it up as a profession and also as a career? Because that was the time you remember pretty much people don't even study science, but they would do computer science and they do a course and fly off to because that was the time anybody with any background. I remember because I used to actually manage a training institute while I was running my own business. Because the gentleman who was running that institute wanted somebody to run it. He said, "You run that and you run your own business." So I used that infrastructure without paying rent so that I could manage that. And hundreds of people would come do the course and fly off to US because Y2K.
Yeah,
And so that was the time where all you had to do was probably a couple of courses in I mean people went with COBOL, right?
yeah. Huh.
So why what was your biggest motivation to do this and not that?
See, basically, as I said, my father wanted to see me as a great scholar, not as an engineer or a doctor or anything like that. Because our family background
Particularly
was
in
like that.
Sanskrit?
Yeah, particularly in Sanskrit. Because my father's grandfather was a Ayurvedic Pandit. So, like that, even my father, he wanted me to see as a professor of Sanskrit and a learned person, a good scholar. So I thought of fulfilling my father's desire. Then I started learning so many Sanskrit, astrology, theology, and such related fields at the age of 20 only. So I started reading basic classical texts. When I started reading, then I came to know that everything is in Sanskrit. So reading translated works doesn't give me the accurate sense. So then, when I asked my professor, he told, without the knowledge of Sanskrit, you cannot understand the things which are written as it is. So then I make my mind that I should learn Sanskrit properly, and I should become a good scholar in Sanskrit first. then I can study anything. So then I went to post graduation. I did my post graduation, both in first year and second year. I got first rank and I got 5 gold medals. And my percentage is the highest percentage in Bangalore University since 1956.
Wow. And even now?
Yeah, till today.
Okay.
So I like that. Even after that, also I took PhD entrance exam. There also I got first rank. And in fact, my PhD topic itself is medical astrology.
Okay.
So when I studied medical astrology, then I came to know the importance of astrology and both in astrology and medical astrology very well. Because in medical astrology, it is very easy, and in depth, it is quite difficult to predict. Because in medical astrology, we can predict the death of a person and how he is going to die during his uh, dying period. All
Mhm.
these things can be predicted through medical astrology. So I was impressed by that branch of knowledge, and I started doing research on medical astrology.
Well, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard ISRO and even some scientists in NASA follow astrology even for flying a satellite. Uh, and I mean, we all see the regular puja before the satellite launch,
Definitely,
but do
because
they also follow
in the
this astrology? Is that true? I mean, have you heard or do you know of those things?
I was called to media channel to predict about these things only for 2 3 times.
Okay.
Okay, one time I think you remember 2 years back, some launch was failed. Maybe 2 3 years back. I don't exactly remember. Chandrayaan or something like that. It was failed in some around 2 3 years back.
So that means the ISRO guys don't really follow it.
The, yeah, for that only I was called to give the explanation,
Okay.
astrological explanation for that. Then I went to some media channel, maybe to BTV or Power TV like that. So then I explained. I think it is BTV. Then I explained. Even just next to me, two other scientists were sitting in the same discussion, and I told him I took all the granthas over there and I showed them. So this is what our shastra says, and you have launched this in this time, so it gives a useless or bad result. That is why the launching was failed. I showed them.
So, you say that essentially it comes down to muhurta of the launching period.
Definitely, exactly. Everything I told you, from birth till death, everything A to Z, it comes under Muhurta. Muhurta means it
No,
is
but
nothing but
it was
a,
obviously a technical problem, right? I think they were able to.
that is what happens. Whether it is technical or non-technical, we just say it will, whether it will be successful. The launching will be successful or not by seeing the launching time of that day and date.
Okay. So, just curious,
Because
uh, how do you arrive at it? Is does it entail program directors' uh, personal details are necessary for it, or every individual who's part of that project, or how do you? What is the data you take to arrive at that time?
we don't take the personal horoscope of any other person, whether who is responsible or the committee members or anything like that. We
That's not
are
important.
just concerned. That's not important. We are just concerned about the time of launching. That we call it as muhurta, and we calculate mathematical calculations for that day particularly. If we get some auspicious time like that as the result, then we say it is good, you can go ahead. If we doesn't get, then we say the timings has to be changed.
Right. Do you believe in aura?
Yeah, it comes under the Ayurvedic and supernatural powers.
Well,
They see some colors and other things, all those things, as I have studied.
well, uh, I won't name the company. I was doing some business with them. I was supposed to sign a contract with them. All the negotiations were
Okay.
done. They called me to sign a contract. on a given day.
Okay.
When I went, they said before I go to that senior vice president where the contract will be signed, I have to meet somebody else. That will be the final sign
Okay.
off on signing our contract. I thought maybe the CEO or some
Okay.
CXO will want to meet. They made me sit outside, and
Okay.
then they said, "Okay, you're good to go. Just knock on the door and go in." I knocked on the door and opened the door. It was a quite an empty room, but a little longish.
Okay.
So I had the 10 steps away or so. There's just one table. One gentleman is sitting on the other side, and one empty chair this side. I look at it, and he just waved at me to come in, making suggesting that I should
Okay.
come inside.
Okay.
I started walking in.
Okay.
4 5 steps. He said, "ठीक है, you can go." I didn't understand anything.
Okay.
I said,
Okay.
"Sorry." He said, "No problem, you can go." I went out, and there was a guy who was waiting outside. He said, "Just give me a minute." He went in, came out, and he said, "Please come with me." And he took me to the senior vice president. By then, he hung up the phone
Okay.
and said, "Come, come. So good, you're cleared. We'll sign the contract." I asked him, "So first, you got to explain what exactly happened here." So he told me
Okay.
that the chairman of that company believes in
Hmm.
this Guruji.
Okay.
Any senior hiring the company does or any contract the company signs, they first, finally, after negotiating everything, even if they had, even his own
Okay.
hiring, he said that at least you're good, you 5 steps and they cleared you. I actually went and sat in front of him for a minute. So,
Okay.
uh, but do these things really work?
I was thinking about that
And that
only
was a technology
because
company. Before anybody else assumes it was a technology company. So,
see, basically, what you just now said, for that, in psychology, we call it as body language. Okay, because I have taught very long back. I have taught for uh, psychology in degree level and MSc psychology also. So in that psychology, you several branches are there, like child psychology, animal psychology, industrial psychology, behavioral psychology, human psychology, male psychology, female psychology. Like that, you have so many branches, major branches. Apart from that, I actually very long back I heard from one of my friend that he knew psychology also, and he was a HR in a very good company. And while hiring the candidates, he was seeing their body language. By just observing the body language only, minimum 50% they can come to a conclusion. The other 50% just they were concerned about the depth of knowledge and other factors. That's all. Because there is a what you can say is there is a concept in psychology that if a person walks till to his chair and he sits, with that only a psychologist can understand and predict how he or she is.
what this man was doing was clearly not psychology, right? He mentioned that I think he looks for aura because even for him, when he was hired, he had to sit in front of them. That man didn't ask any question. There
Okay,
was no conversation. It was just watching. So, uh,
they will observe for a few seconds.
yeah, and that is enough.
Yeah,
What
I
are they
think
observing?
it
What
depends.
exactly is that? He said it's aura. Is that aura, or is that what was it? And what will give him confidence? This is not part of uh, your studies, is it? Or is there any
I
reference?
don't think. I don't think within a few seconds any normal person can understand the aura of a person. Basically, as I said, psychologically they can observe and they can come to a conclusion. But regarding the aura concept, within few seconds, it is quite impossible to come to a normal person. A person who is having or who has achieved some supernatural powers can may do that.
But he was referred to as Guruji or Swamiji, something like that. Guruji.
Yeah, because some people might have taken some supernatural powers from the Himalayan sages and they might have come here. That is also possible. because as we don't know the background of that person, we cannot predict anything properly or as it is.
Okay, right. So, coming back to your journey of teaching, uh,
Yeah,
you started you while you are teaching itself, you are also a professional astrologer.
yeah.
How did
I
how
start.
how does that happen? I mean, uh, uh, it's well, it's like consulting. I mean, how I understand, right? I don't understand this as a profession. How does that work as a professional astrologer? Uh, do you is there a
See,
certifying body agency, or is just that word of mouth that you did it to your neighbor or your relative and they told? How does this work?
see, my father and my father's elder brother and his son. These three are the persons who taught me astrology for the
Oh,
basic
so
level.
I thought your father was in a public sector company, right?
He was working in ITI, Indian Telephone
Right.
Industries,
I think.
basically, but he was a professional priest and astrologer also.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, okay. So
Because
you had
my
people
father
coming
was
home
expert.
seeking his advice on this. So this was
Yeah,
happening.
all those things I was observing from my childhood, and even my uncle, he told me, my father's elder brother, he told me, why can't you do some research on this astrology, as you are thinking of acquiring knowledge in Sanskrit and you want to do post graduation in Sanskrit. Then I thought of, okay, let me complete my post graduation first. So before that, I read all the astrological books that are in Kannada and English. But I was not satisfied because one of my professor was saying, basically, in which language any concept or knowledge is written, you have to study that only. Then you will get the knowledge as it is. Because the translator might have changed the ideology. That is why I started off reading once again all the concepts in Sanskrit. So when I started reading and doing researches on these things, then I came to know that we have so many things to study. So nearly around 20 years I studied, and much more than all these things. Apart from your study, it basically the astrology or astrologer, he depends on how he practices the japa tapa and others, on which your words will stand in future for the people regarding predictions.
Right. Is palmistry part of astrology?
Yeah, palm reading is also a part of astrology, but very unfortunately, we don't have any huge source of authentic proofs for this thing. We have some basic texts because I started learning this around 20, 22 years back. So even I have some 4 5 works that was basically written in Tamil. Then it was translated into English, and even in Kannada also I have some books like that. But I when I was doing some research on those things, I saw the basic level text, not the advanced level text. So I start because even in astrology it says that these are all the signs. Because I don't know why these astrologers or those who are palm readers, they put only palm in front of their office. It is palm. It is not actually palmistry. It is body reading, basically.
How
It
does
is
that?
called
What is
as
body? I thought it was always only the palm.
that's what. No, no, no. It is body reading. That is there in many classical texts. Even Varaha Mihira has written that. Samudrika Shastra, Samudrika Chinha. Samudrika means the external signs that are there on your body. It need not be on your palm.
Okay. Well,
From
back in school and college days, a friend of mine was interested in astrology. But of
okay,
course, he also didn't have anybody in his family into it. So then he started going reading palmistry. He got me curious about it, and he shared his book. I remember it was called Chiro's Book of Palmistry. It was
yeah,
Chiero.
that is, yeah, yeah,
It
sure,
was a Greek or basically some European writer. I think it was a translation of his work. And then I came across a book called Napoleon's Oraculum. So it is a
Okay.
book where there are different lines are there. Each page has some things written. And
Yeah, sure.
story goes is that Napoleon used to pick up that book before he does anything, randomly opens, and whatever he chooses to read would tell what is likely to happen with that outcome of that effort, right? If it is about going for a war or whatever. And he very religiously believed it. So my uncle had it. So I used to experiment with that those days. Funny, but it was just about you pick up the book, randomly open the pages, you read. How are these things? How do you see these kind of things?
See, basically, whenever you want to learn something, you have to study from the very fundamental books. You will be finding elements of palm reading or palm history, fundamentals of palm reading or palm history. Like that, you will get some books in India. So from that scratch level, you are supposed to study. Then if you have any advanced books or works, then you can definitely go ahead. So I have studied some basic works, some 4 to 5 works, which was basically fundamentals of palm reading. After that, when I went for advanced level, I didn't get any works. And moreover, while doing some research, I came to know that these palm reading, it is not just palm reading. As I said, it is body reading actually. So the body reading and other things, they are all the co-factors for astrology, not main factors for astrology. I think
You
you
mean,
got
what
my
do you
point.
mean when you say
They are
co?
all co-factors. Co-factors means they are some helping concepts or knowledge for astrology to predict. For example, we in Kannada we call it as mache,
Right.
moles.
Huh.
Or moles, according to the
So, okay, I
body
have some
reading.
question here. So, if I have a mole on right and somebody has a
Yeah,
mole on left, and the same whatever the astrological predictions to that two, I mean, if we both are twins, let's say two people who are twins,
yeah,
so
okay, okay,
basically they say the same time muhurta, whatever, right? Birth, maybe a
okay,
minute
okay. Yeah, yeah,
difference.
understand. Uh,
So one has a mole on right, one has a mole on left. Will that alone make a
what
difference?
will be the prediction? Yeah,
That makes the
definitely.
difference.
According to the body language, Samudrika Shastra, for all male persons, right side, if you have mole on the right side of your body, it is good. If you have on the left side, it is not good. Similarly, for all females, if they have on the left side, it is good. If the same thing is on the right side, it is not good. Like this, you have so many predictions even in Samudrika Shastra also.
Okay, interesting. Uh, I wanted to keep this. I was thinking of asking you in a detailed conversation about it, but now that it
Okay.
is there, how does the astrology treat all these today's LGBTQ plus plus? So how does astrology, because LGBTQ plus plus is outside of this traditional male and female, right? Is there any references to this in astrology? Is there a way it can be treated? How do you apply it?
I didn't get your point properly, question properly.
Uh,
LGBTQ is
they're all sexualities, right? L is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender,
for that also you have. Okay, okay. For that also
queer,
you have.
plus plus.
For see, for in our body language concept, Samudrika Shastra, if you have moles, any
Recognize
kind
each
of
of these
moles or
things.
signs in, yeah, yeah, definitely. You have to predict if they have on the right side. For females, you have to predict on the left side. If it is exactly at the center, it is for transgenders. That is also written.
Oh, it is.
Even in Ida Pingala Sushumna Nadi, according to Nadi Shastra, Ida Pingala Sushumna Nadi also is there. That is on the right side and left side. And for males, they see the Nadi in right side. and for females they see in the left hand, and for transgender they see at the uh, what you call as a knee part, below knee part. There
Oh,
is a nerve connected from that to, till the head. They see that part actually.
okay, interesting. So I didn't know that. Okay, if okay, that's interesting. All right. Well, uh, how did your journey to TV start?
Huh. That is really amazing because I was coming from some puja, and I just halted at some signal. One of some VHP Vishwa Hindu Parishat person, I remember even his name also, Vinayaka Annaya. So actually, he was just looking at me, and I don't know why he impressed by my face, and he asked me, "What's your name?" I told him Shyam Parakash Sharma. He asked me what you are doing. I told him basically at that time I was not professor. I was a senior lecturer at lecture of Sanskrit, and I was working in National College. What you have studied? He asked me. I have studied so many things like Veda, Sanskrit, and Puranas. I have started reading. Then I see Vastu. I see medical astrology, and I am good at mundane astrology. All those things I was just telling in that signal only, because that signal was 3 minutes. So we just in that 3 minutes I spoke to him so many things. He was very much impressed, and he took my number, and
And
he just gave me a ring, and
you
I just
you
saved his
didn't know
number,
him
and he
before.
just,
You just met him then.
I don't know him at all. I don't know him at all. He just took my number and he gave his number to me. That's all. We shared by our number, and we just saved our numbers. After that, I got a call from my first program was 25, 24th. Uh, I think it is May 24th May 2018. So I just received. I was just going with my son and my wife outside. That was on Sunday actually. I just received a call from TV1 channel. Now it is not there. It was there actually. TV1 channel. So they just invited me for some discussion. I was overwhelmed by that call because I didn't know. Then I came to know that some person might have given my number. So from that day onwards, my journey started, and I became very popular in many TV programs, because most of the people even today, so many media channel people, they have their own sub channels and YouTube channels and other things. For so many people, they come to me, they come to my office only, and they'll record my programs, and they'll go and they'll telecast that in their sub channels or YouTube channels, and sometimes in main channels like that. So I have given more than 400, 300, 400 programs in my media career.
Yeah. Well, who are the astrologers you look up to? You think they're good? I mean, either they are there presently or they were in the past. Who are those people who inspire you? Who you think are like doing very good job or something that
Basically,
inspires? Yeah.
yeah, basically, Varaha Mihira, Aryabhata, Bhaskaravan, and Bhaskara these are all very great astrologers. These were very, very great astrologers, because when you just go through their works, if you study their works, definitely you can understand the depth of knowledge of those great people. In fact, Varaha Mihira is very, very great. Aryabhata also, no doubt about it. Bhaskaravan, Bhaskara too. And in fact, the contribution of some Jain astrologers are also quite recognizable in the history of astrology in our country. Some Jains were also, they were astrologers, and basically in when you come to the southern part of our country, this Kerala astrology plays a major role. Kerala astrology, and nowadays you might be knowing, or you might have heard of Ashtamangala Prashna. This Ashtamangala Prashna is very popular. Nowadays, it is becoming very popular because of Kerala and South Kannada. Even our South Kannada region that also comes under the belt of Kerala only. They're all very good at Ashtamangala Prashna. We see the horoscope by seeing by taking their date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth. Actually, I don't have any electronic gadgets. I can get your great grandfather's horoscope date also in my house because I have Panchanga of around 130 years.
No, come again. You can get the date of birth of my great grandfather
Yeah, definitely.
without me telling you.
No, if you tell me, if I have the Panchanga of such a
Okay.
old
Okay. If I
distance,
tell you the date, you can generate his.
definitely I can see the Panchanga. Yeah, I have Panchanga since 1890.
Okay. And how do you confirm these are all authentic? How do you ensure that?
That's what very beginning I told. It is nothing but concept, experiment, and experience. You have the concept with you in front of you. You experiment it. Experiment means test it. Then you will see the experience. Even NASA people are unable to predict when the eclipse is going to happen in 2030, 40, 50 like that. But in our almanac, Panchanga, we can definitely predict everything because the NASA people are very much excited in knowing the classic astronomical texts that have been written by our ancient seers.
Have you ever been wrong at your prediction ever in your journey?
If your time of birth is wrong, then prediction will be little bit wrong. Because date of birth most of the people will be knowing properly. Time of birth means they may not be knowing exactly because the doctor is worried about the saving both mother and the infant properly, so he'll be busy with
But it's
that
a few
after
minutes
taking
here
out
and
the
there, right? Will it matter?
pardon.
Few minutes here and there will also matter.
Yeah, little bit it matters for a few months or days or years, depending upon the dasha bhukti. What we say dasha bhukti means period of that planet. Surya dasha, Chandra dasha, Rahu dasha, Shukra dasha, like that. If it is Surya dasha, it is only for 6 years. If it is Shukra dasha, it is for 20 years. So if it is Surya dasha, then in that Surya dasha, a few days or weeks will matter. If it is Shukra dasha, few months or years will matter. Such a huge difference or change you can find.
Right. Well, before we conclude, what would you recommend for our audience and listeners to read, follow, watch? I mean, apart from, of course, must tell the audience and listeners that all his YouTube and Instagram links are given below this podcast, so you can follow. I think most of his videos, of course, are in Kannada, right, Sham?
Yeah,
Most of
yeah,
the, some of
almost
them are,
because actually
yeah.
basically we thought of doing in English, but as you know, our local language is Kannada, and most of the people they preferred Kannada only.
Mm.
So I started doing everything in Kannada only. But now we are thinking that in today's technology, whatever we have uh, given the lecture, that can be displayed in English also. We are planning to make that also because whatever the topic I choose it very strange manner. As I have studied the concepts or different branches of knowledge in a very depth. So in our YouTube channel, Sudharma SPS, there we have taken so many controversial concepts also.
Okay.
You might be because I have one audio actually. First we were doing audio only. First 3 years we were doing audio only. I have not shown my face at all. Most of the people they asked me, they messaged me, they called me, please show your face. So from this year only we are doing videos. So till 2024, before that all the 3 years we were doing audios only. I was not showing. I was not doing any videos at all. So most of the people ask me, "Are you 70 years old, 80 years old?" Like that. I told them I am just 46, 47 years old. They were shocked. You have studied so much at such an young age. I told, with God's grace, I have studied. So then now we are doing. See, basically in Vastu, you might have heard that Kuber Mule.
Hmm.
Everybody says that Kuber Mule. There is no concept of Kuber Mule in total Vastu Shastra at all.
Oh, is it? Seriously?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Oh,
After
that's the
yeah,
first thing
after
you
you,
tend to hear everybody speak. So,
that's what whatever you can. I request you people, those who are listening this or they are watching this, you just go to my YouTube channel and just scroll back to the earlier versions. I have done several YouTube recordings which are very strange. And one of the most controversial was I did about that all Matadipatis and Pitadipatis are not sannyasis. I
right.
got so many calls regarding that. You are saying that Matadipatis are not sannyasis, they are not sages or ascetics. I told it is not, they are not exactly. I have all the authentic proof. If you want, if you have the logical sense and broad mindedness, definitely I can teach you and I can tell you how they are not ascetics or sages.
Well, yeah, at a very fundamental level or a logical level, if somebody is an ascetic, cannot be an adipati or a adipati is a lordship. So lordship of a
See, basically,
space or a mutt or anything does not align to somebody who is ascetic, which means somebody who has given up everything. So the contradiction is there in those two. So at a
see,
fundamental level.
in
So
our in today's world, especially in our country, most of the Matadipatis are not well versed in any branches of knowledge. It is so ridiculous, but it is true. It is so ridiculous and sad, but it is true. They are not well versed. I openly say, because wherever I go, I ask so many scholars, after all, what are your qualifications? I ask like that only, after all, what are your qualifications? I have studied much more than whatever you have studied. If you want to know, just let us have a discussion for 2 3 hours. I'll speak to you. I'll ask some questions. Let me see how you will answer. Or you ask me any question. You see how I will answer. Like that. So when some people on behalf of Matadipatis they came, they asked me, "Can you show me the authentic proof?" Over the phone only they called. You come to me, definitely I'll show you.
they came.
They don't have the what you say, capability or the guts to come.
Right.
Because they know, because with authentic proofs only I have told everything in my YouTube channel only. Because basically sannyasis are of four kinds: putti chakka bahudaka hamsa paramahamsa. I have explained each and every technical term properly. And these Matadipatis, they don't belong to any of these categories. Like that. So very clearly I can prove that actually most of the people doesn't know what is the meaning of Matadipati. In Sanskrit, matha means students' hostel. Everyone should know this properly. In today's world, what you call as in modern world, residential schools, like that we had some gurukulas. One who is the chief or the head or chairperson of that gurukula is called as Matadipati. Now these people they have mistaken that as pontiffs and other things,
Hmm.
sages and other things. That is wrong. And there are lot of rules and regulations for the sannyasis. These matadipatis or pitadipatis, they are not following any of these things. Like that, almost many of my YouTube videos and audios are controversial only. I have very clearly I have done females can do perform shraddha. Many people ask me, females can perform funeral rites also, post death ceremonies. For that also I have authentic proofs with me. And in my YouTube, in that video or audio, I think it is audio, in that audio, I have given the authentic proof with Sanskrit shlokas. Always I give Sanskrit shlokas in each and every my YouTube program, whether it is audio or video.
As a reference based on which you are saying
Yeah.
this. Right, right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. In fact, we do plan to dive deeper into each of his areas of interest. We will be having a far more detailed conversation on medical astrology and uh, uh, I forget the term you use for making predictions. What
Mundane
is
astrology. Mundane
mundane
astrology.
astrology?
Mundane astrology.
Right.
Yeah.
So mundane astrology is a reference in the English, but in Indian Sanskrit, what is the reference to that mundane astrology?
Medini Jyotisha.
Mithini Jyotish.
Medini Jyotisha.
Medini Jyotish.
Medini means earth.
Oh, okay.
Medini
Okay.
means earth. The
And
whole earth prediction is called as Medini Jyotisha.
okay. Okay. So we will be getting into each of those conversations. So please come back. And in the meanwhile, please follow the links that are shared below this podcast and share this link with all those who you think will appreciate or are interested in. And also, you are most welcome to reach out to Dr. Shyam Parakash Sharma for any of the advices. He's very approachable, but of course, he's very busy as well. But I'm sure you will get a response, and you can always uh, schedule a time convenient for both. So, till we meet again, enjoy the ride. Shama, once again, thank you so much for making time to do this with us and on Future Fast.
Sure. Thank you.